What's up, guys? My name is Tyler Morris. I play Division III football and lacrosse out of Vernon University, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the do's and the don'ts of the recruiting process. So just things that I did personally, things that I wish I did better, things that I wish that I put more emphasis on and just focused on more, things that I've talked to coaches about, things that they want their recruits to do, things they don't want their recruits to do, and just overall what they look for in an athlete when they're going through that process. So this video will just kind of give you some tips and tricks, just tools of the trade on what to do when you're going through the recruiting process. So I hope you guys enjoy. First I'm going to start off with the don'ts. The do's and the don'ts, they do kind of coincide, so I'm going to try to incorporate them with each other and wrap them up as clean as I can. But starting off with the don'ts, don't be closed-minded. As I mentioned in videos before, you never really know what doors are going to open, what doors are going to close. So as you're going through this recruiting process, be as open-minded as possible, be as open as going to different schools, different places, different atmospheres, different states, obviously different conferences, and just kind of market yourself, because you also don't know what that particular coach is going to do. So in my instance, almost every single school that recruited me, by the time my recruiting process was over, that coach that was recruiting me ended up leaving to go to another school, and another door could open me at a different place. Also, you don't know who knows who. So there could be a coach that's very interested in you, and you guys establish a really good relationship. That coach knows your personality, that coach can vouch for you, that coach knows your character, and even though it didn't work out for you, that coach could point you in the right direction. It could point you to a school that you may enjoy. They can point you to a school that interests you, and just ultimately they can set up a connection that you may have not been able to yourself, and you may have thought of yourself, and they could just know someone that you obviously didn't know that they know. On the other hand of that, if you blow a coach off, you show no interest to that coach, you just close the door. Not only did you close the door to your school, but some coaches may be spiteful. They may have ties with other coaches at different places. They may say, oh, don't recruit this guy because XYZ. Don't recruit this girl because XYZ. You don't want to have anyone be able to tamper your character. You don't want to be put in a position where someone can ultimately say that you're about something that you're not. So ultimately, be open-minded, market yourself, put yourself out there, establish relationships with coaches of all the levels, all the different conferences, because at the end of the day, you don't know who knows who, and also you don't know what door could open up another door. Another don't that I would say from personal experience and just seeing other people do it, don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Often in today's world, teens, young people, we get hesitant to reach out to people. We get hesitant to call people up, answer our phones, just have that conversation, and just be interpersonal with other people. So don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Coaches like someone who can go out and be accountable, who can be a go-getter and just put themselves out there to market themselves, and just also try to put all their cards on the table. Be open with your coaches, be honest with them, ask questions. Ultimately, just don't be afraid to be yourself. Don't be afraid to, as I said before, market yourself. Just put yourself out there. Introduce yourself to different coaches, different places. As I keep repeating myself, ask questions. Just ultimately tell them what you're interested in, tell them what you're not interested in. Maybe they can point you in the right direction, maybe they can help you, and ultimately that's a way that you can get on a coach's radar that may have not seen you there beforehand. So obviously there's more athletes in the world than coaches. Coaches aren't going to pick up every single athlete on their radar. So from you reaching out and you putting yourself out there, just ultimately forcing yourself onto their radar, you may have just got yourself a roster spot. You may have just gotten yourself a scholarship at a school that beforehand had no idea who you were, obviously had no interest in you because they didn't know who you were, and you just ultimately put yourself in the position to succeed. This next one's pretty much obvious, so I'm not really going to harp on it too much. Don't post things that could bite you in the butt down the road. Don't put your whole life on social media. That's a big problem in today's age. You often see that something that you ultimately could have tweeted 5-10 years ago can blow up now and ultimately ruin your life. So don't put anything on social media that could jeopardize your future. Don't put anything that could jeopardize your character, jeopardize your voice, and this ultimately puts you in a position for people to accuse you of something that you aren't, and for a situation to arise that you don't have the opportunity to fully explain your side of the story. So be smart with you post. Think twice before you post. Think twice before you say something. And ultimately, like I said, I'm not really going to go that deep, so it's self-explanatory. Be smart about what you're putting on online and putting on platforms that represent you, your family, and ultimately your character. Another don't, do not, I don't know how to say it, it'll sound awkward. Do not answer your phone. So coaches, they have hundreds of recruits. They have hundreds of emails, hundreds of text messages. They don't want to be on their phones, on their computers all day talking to you through the computer. They want to have face-to-face conversations if possible, or over the phone conversations. So if a coach calls you, respond. If you don't respond and he leaves a voicemail, call him back. Don't text. Obviously, sometimes you aren't able to call if, depending on certain circumstances, but try your absolute best to answer your phone. Try your absolute best to have those conversations, even though it may not be the most comforting things for you, because like I said, coaches, they don't want to be on their phones all day. They don't want to text all day. They don't want to email all day. They want to hear you talk. They want to hear how you speak. They want to hear how you articulate yourself, and ultimately, they want to hear how genuine you are in your phone call. They want to get to know you on a deeper level than they can through a text message, through an email. So a major don't, do not, that makes sense, do not answer your phone. Another don't that I wish I did through this recruiting process, don't put all your eggs in one basket. So by that I mean, when you're going through this recruiting process, there may be one particular school that you really love, that you really want to go to. And from you just really wanting to go to that school and being very excited in that school, you may close doors for other schools. So for me in particular, I was really sold on one school, and whenever I would go to that school, I would buy new stuff. I would buy all these hoodies, all these hats, all these t-shirts, and I just swore up and down I was going to that school. And unfortunate enough, I did not go to that school. It worked out better for me at the school I am now, obviously, but at the time being, I was so sold on this one school, only focused on this one school, and when things kind of departed and didn't work out, I was kind of left back at ground zero. I didn't really know what to do moving forward because I put all my eggs in one basket. I was really banking on going to this one school. I stopped talking to other coaches because I wanted to put all my focus and emphasis on that one particular school, and that could have potentially made me lose a lot of the opportunities that I had. Luckily enough for me, it didn't, but not everyone always has that luck. So moving on to the do section of it, the first thing I would say is do your research. Before you travel to these schools, drive to other schools, email these coaches, research the school. Research, obviously, if they have the major that you want to do. Research where it is geographically. Research what there is to do there. Obviously, if you have a certain interest, a particular interest, see if that's available at that school or around that school. Because before you establish these relationships with these coaches and you're spending all this money traveling to schools, setting up tours, you want to know if that is a place where you could actually land. You want to know if that's a place where you're going to enjoy yourself, and if that's a place where you ultimately at the end of the day are going to fit in. Another thing that I would say to do, which I did, was very helpful, make a list of the schools that you're interested in. So my high school coach, he really made it a point to stress to me, pick your top 10 of schools. So it may seem like a lot, but at the end of the day, there's over 100 universities in the country. So ultimately, pick your top 10 and weigh out the pros and cons of each school. Weigh out what you like about the school, what you don't like about the school, what you like about the program, what you don't like about the program, and then from that point, you can kind of rank what schools you want to target in what order and how you want things to work out there. Try to actively communicate with your coaches. Make it a point to where ultimately they can ignore you. Make it to where they have to tell you, okay, listen, sorry, but we're not interested. You should look elsewhere. Call them, text them. Just keep up to date with them. Keep them posted on what's going on. Keep them posted on how you're performing academically and athletically. Keep them posted on social life. Keep them posted on maybe accomplishments you made, awards that you received, honor roll. It doesn't all have to be athletic accomplishments. Ask them how things are going at their school. Keep up to date with the trends that are going on in the school. If it's in season for them and they won a big game, congratulate them for their big win. Try to establish a relationship with your coaches and your recruiters to the point where they know you on a first name basis. They know, oh, this person cares, this person really is interested in my school, and then from that point they'll go through what's in for you. And then from that point, since you established a relationship with them, you've been respectful with them, and they can vouch for you, as I mentioned before, they may be able to set you up elsewhere if it doesn't work out at that particular school. So overall, reach out, ask your questions, be open, be honest, establish your relationships, and just be you. Another do, I would say, let your game speak for yourself. So obviously, if you're on a coach's radar, they like you as an athlete. They've seen what you can do. They love what you can do, and you don't really have to explain your athletic ability because it speaks for itself. this is a point where you try to let them know how you are character-wise off the field. This is when you let them know how you are academically, how you are socially, how you are with your family, with your peers, because at the end of the day, that's what's most important to them. Anyone can kick a ball, anyone can throw a ball, anyone can bench press and be the strongest in the room, but not everyone can be a good person. As cliche as it sounds, that's really what coaches look for. You don't have to continuously boast about your accomplishments on the field. At the end of the day, coaches don't really care about on the field once you dive really deep into the recruiting process. They want to get to know you, as I keep reiterating, they want to get to know you off the field. They want to get to know you as a person. So really focus on developing that relationship with the coaches, focus on showcasing what you bring to the table, and just ultimately give them an insight of who you are, not as an athlete, but as a person. Overall, there's a lot of things that can be mentioned that you should do, things that I wouldn't advise that you do. Way too much to cover in one video without it being a over lengthy video, but those are just kind of the brief things that I wanted to jot down and make a point of emphasis in this video. And thank you for listening. I hope you guys enjoy, and I hope that you got something out of this video. Deuces.
You